Zach's life had hit rock bottom, eviction notice on the door, empty cupboards, and a toxic mixture sitting ready on his apartment floor. Then a mysterious envelope slid under his door, containing only a key and a note about a floating house on Willow Lake. Inside the strange dwelling, what he discovered behind a loose wall panel left him trembling uncontrollably. Zach stared at the cracked ceiling of his tiny apartment. The weight of existence crushed his chest as he lay motionless on the threadbare mattress. An eviction notice had been taped to his door that morning. His termination letter sat on the table, and the empty cupboards mocked his growing hunger. 28 years had passed since he left the shelter where he grew up, and he had nothing to show for it. Life had been a constant uphill battle. Every time Zach thought he was getting ahead, something would knock him back down. This time felt different, though. This time he couldn't see a way forward. After another day of rejected job applications and averted gazes when begging for spare change, Zach made his decision. He couldn't continue living like this anymore. The world had made it clear there was no place for him. With trembling hands, he mixed a toxic concoction and placed it on the floor before him. He sat cross-legged, staring at the cup. No one would miss him. He was just another nameless face in a city that never slowed down enough to notice those who couldn't keep up. Zach took a deep breath and reached for the cup. His fingers had just touched the rim when a soft sound caught his attention. Something had slid under his door, a white envelope lying innocently on the worn carpet. Curiosity pulled him away from his dark intentions. He picked up the envelope, turning it over in his hands. There was no name, no address, no stamp. Just a plain white envelope sealed with care. Inside, he found a single key and a handwritten note. The floating house on Willow Lake is yours now. Go there. Zach's first thought was that this had to be a cruel joke. But as he held the heavy, old-fashioned key in his palm, something about its weight felt real. And in that moment, desperation pushed logic aside. What did he have to lose? The cup on the floor or a wild goose chase to Willow Lake? Either way, his current life was over. Using his last few dollars, Zach bought a bus ticket to the rural county where Willow Lake was located. The journey took nearly 6 hours, and with each mile, he questioned his sanity. Who would give him a house? Zach walked for over an hour before the trees parted to reveal Willow Lake. It was a secluded body of water, smaller than he expected, surrounded by towering trees that cast long shadows across the surface. And there, anchored near the shore, stood a charming wooden house floating on a platform, swaying gently with the water. It wasn't large or fancy, just a simple 2-story structure with a small porch that wrapped around one side. But to Zach, who had been facing homelessness, it looked like a palace. A narrow wooden walkway connected the floating house to the shore. Zach approached cautiously, half expecting someone to appear and chase him away, but no one came. With shaking hands, he tried the key in the lock. It fit perfectly. The door swung open with a soft creak, revealing the interior of what was supposedly now his home. Inside, Zach found immaculate furnishings. Nothing extravagant, but everything was clean and well-maintained. The main room had comfortable seating, a kitchen area contained stocked pantries, and a refrigerator humming quietly. Upstairs, he discovered a bedroom with a made bed and a small bathroom with running water. For days, Zach explored his new home, baffled by this miracle but grateful for the roof and food. The house gently rocked with the water's movements. At night, he would sit on the porch and watch the stars reflect on the lake's surface. For the first time in years, he felt safe. 1 week after his arrival, a powerful thunderstorm swept across the lake. During the storm's peak, Zach noticed water seeping through a wall panel in the main room, not from outside but from inside the wall itself. Curious, he pressed against the panel and found it move slightly under his touch. Pushing harder, the panel slid aside, revealing a hidden compartment built into the wall. Inside was a sealed envelope with his name, Zachary Thomas Miller, written across the front. His heart pounded as he carefully opened the envelope. Inside was a letter, property documents, and several photographs. He unfolded the letter with trembling fingers and began to read. "I have watched your suffering, heard your cries," the letter read. "This house is yours, legally and completely. Take good care of it. The land beside the lake is fertile. Plant, harvest, and prosper. Then remember to help the less privileged and others like yourself. There is more to be done. Attached were property deeds in his name, officially filed with the county. But what caught his attention, what shook Zach to his core, wasn't the gift itself. At the bottom of the envelope was a faded photograph of himself as a child at the shelter. In the picture, 6-year-old Zach was smiling, standing next to a man whose face had been carefully torn away from the image. Zach fell to his knees, body trembling uncontrollably. The photograph slipped from his fingers as realization crashed over him like a wave. This person had known him his entire life, planning this gift for him. But who, and why tear their face from the only clue they'd left behind? The storm outside seemed to match the turmoil in Zach's mind as questions swirled without answers. Who was his mysterious benefactor? Is it a human or an immortal? As days turned into weeks, Zach began to embrace his new life, despite the unanswered questions. Following the letter's instructions, he cleared a patch of land beside the lake and planted vegetables. To his amazement, everything flourished beyond expectation. By summer, he had enough food to eat and to sell. One evening, while watching the sunset from his porch, something caught Zach's eye. Across the lake was a thin figure huddled under a large oak. The person seemed to be watching the house. Remembering the letter's instructions about helping others, Zach didn't hesitate. He untied his small rowboat and crossed the lake. As he approached, he saw it was a young woman, perhaps in her early 20s. Her clothes were worn, her face gaunt with hunger, a reflection of himself not so long ago. Her name was Maya, and she had lost everything in a house fire. Without hesitation, Zach offered her food and the spare room in his floating house, just as someone had helped him when he was at his lowest. One afternoon, while helping clean the attic space under the peaked roof, Maya discovered something wedged between two wooden beams. It was an old leather-bound journal, its pages yellowed with age. Maya called down to Zach, explaining what she had found. When he climbed up to join her, she handed him the journal with care. The first page bore a simple inscription, "For Zachary, when the time is right." With shaking hands, Zach opened the journal. The handwritten pages revealed the beginning of answers and a promise. The mysterious benefactor wrote about watching Zach grow up from afar, about the pride they felt seeing him overcome hardships, and about their plan to provide him with a sanctuary when he needed it most. The journal also instructed him to continue the work, to take care of the house, and to help others. It explained that there was more to be done, more people like him who needed a chance, a helping hand in their darkest hour. The floating house on Willow Lake wasn't just a home, it was a second chance, a mission, a legacy. What would you do if you discovered someone had been watching over you your entire life, waiting for the perfect moment to save you?